The first point is background of the poem. A poetry is an art of imagination, and the poet creates or writes a poetry in some imagination. So in the class of learning poetry, the students should be allowed to think freely. They should develop their imagination power. Before teaching a poem, a teacher should create an imaginative world around the students. Every poem is written with some motto, with some motive of the poet. In some condition, mental condition, he has written. And during the teaching in poetry, teacher should create an imaginative environment in the class. Here, feeling is more important than learning during the teaching of poetry. The main aim of poetry is to get pleasure out of the poem. Now, introductory question. Now, teacher himself understands the poem first very deeply, and then he starts his lesson with the introductory questions. These introductory questions should be very easy, related to everyday life and somewhat related to the poem. The last question, introductory question, should be very close to the poem. And students, by these questions, guess about the poem. Now, statement of aim and motive of poem. Third point is the statement of aim and motive of poem. When the students are very curious, very eager to know the name of the poem, what is the poem about? Teacher till now don't disclose the name of the poem and let the student guess about it, think about it. And when they are very eager, at that spot, the teacher discloses the name of the poem and the poet. And he also describes in what mental condition, in which surrounding the poet has created that particular poem. So, the teacher should explain the motive of the poem. Why the poem has written that poem. That should be described by the teacher in briefly. Thinking about the period of the time, and then he briefly say about the poet also to the students, so that they will take interest in poetry and the life of poets. Fourth point is model recitation, model reciting or model reading of the poem. The teacher recites the poem loudly in the class with the students' books closed, and the teacher recites the poem with correct pronunciation, stress, intonation, pause, and with expression, gestures, and voice modulation. Voice modulation means pitch, changing pitch and tone, that is called modulation. Intonation means rising and falling of tone, that is called intonation. Stress means some words or some syllables are spoken or recited highly, loudly, that is stress. And correct pronunciation. These are the characteristics of the model reading. And during first model reading, the students should keep their books closed and only think about the poem the teacher is reciting. Guess about the poem. What the poet is saying in this poem. They will think about the poem during the model recitation. And then the teacher asks them some questions to guess about the theme of the poem. And different students give different opinions. The teacher will write their opinions very briefly on the blackboard. And then the teacher may again give the model recitation with the student's book open. And at last, the teacher may allow the students for loud recitation by the students, line by line, after him or after the teacher, here, her. Teacher recites a line, all the students will in chorus recite the poem. In this way, the reading session comes finished. And then synopsis of the poem. Synopsis means abstract, or we can say summary, or we can say the poem in nutshell, very briefly. So the teacher will explain the poem very briefly. Its summary is given to the students, so that whether they have guessed rightly or wrongly, they will judge themselves, because their guesses are written on the blackboard. And so the teacher will give the explanation, and then he will ask some questions, and if they cannot answer, the teacher will help them answering the question. At last, assignment. The teacher gives very easy questions for the student to do at their home, and he will ask a student to read this poem comprehensively, understandingly, so that that particular poem will be again explained clearly the next day in the English period. These are the steps how a poetry can be taught. Now, assignment for you. So, question number first, A part, section A. What is poetry? What is a poetry? Poetry is a work of art of an imagination. And question number second, what kind of environment a teacher should create before teaching a poem? Before teaching a poem, the teacher should create an environment of imagination, in the motive in which the particular poem is written. That kind of environment should be created in the class before presenting the poem. Question number 3, short answer type question. What are introductory questions? Introductory questions are related to everyday life but somewhat related to the poem. And last introductory questions should be very close to the poem so that at next point the teacher will give the statement of aim. And question 4, how should the model reading be presented? Be presented. Be is not written here. How should the model reading be presented? So the model reading should be presented with correct pronunciation, stress, intonation, pause, modulation, and एक्सप्रेशन, जेस्चर. जेस्चर मीन्स हाव भाव के साथ कविता को उनके अर्थ के हिसाब से उसके मुखाकृति में एक्सप्रेशन आना चाहिए. जैसे कोई ऊंची चीज़ है तो ऐसे ऊंचा बताएंगे, नीची चीज़ है तो लो बताएंगे. इससे एक्सप्रेशन से उसका अर्थ बताएंगे. एक्सप्रेशन एंड जेस्चर. जेस्चर का मतलब मुंह से ऐसे हाव भाव बताएंगे. क्रोध है तो आंखें फैलाएंगे इस तरह से. दे आर कॉल्ड जेस्चर. Gesture means body language. So that kind of model reading should be presented. And first model reading, the books of the student should be closed. What are the steps of teaching a poem? Describe. This is detailed question for your university exam. Thank you. Have a nice day, my dear students.